is the method by which we conserve and update our society. Its reference are in the physical world, not the opinion of some politician, nor the folkways of industry, nor the traditions of the religion. As you look around in this room, I would ask you to become mindful of the things which the scientific method has actually given us. My voice is audible. I have something called slides, which underline my point. We sit on and in constructed edifices and wear clothes that are all the result of technical processes. Indeed, many of us are alive because of science. Had I been born with medical technology set back 100 years, I would most likely not be speaking to you today. Now, it must be made clear that the scientific method is not the same as some elements of the modern scientific establishment. Indeed, the horrors, inefficiencies, slowness to adapt, and other attributes previously mentioned are the results of the interference of the dominant cultural value set with the attempts of the scientific method. The results are systematically downgraded and diluted scientific landscape. If the scientific method were the act of running, we are currently running underwater. Rather, it is the system attributes of the scientific method themselves that, when promoted to the overriding value orientation of society, will yield a system where efficiency and sustainability are promoted, and where the obsolescence and waste-generating mechanism of present-day life are deselected in favour of those processes that take care of every human being well beyond what we would believe actually possible in a market system based on competition, inefficiency, tradition, and so on. Many people consider this to be cold and unfeeling. Well, if using science to solve our social issues sounds cold to you, you may want to consider this. You employ the scientific method every day. Placing one foot in front of the other will enable you to walk forwards. Having learned this, and that it's generally a good idea to face forward, you employ this method because of the results you have come to get from that. You know that turning a door handle and either pushing or pulling of a door will enable you to pass through. Nobody attempts to simply walk through a closed door because of the environmental feedback from testing it. That has resulted in the proven knowledge that it is an unsuccessful practice and the cause of many, many headaches, at least for me. The most metaphysically orientated minds will still interact with the physical world in the way that the human body requires and is able to. It is a physical reference in that sense that drives every action. This is why we propose a resource-based economy. Money is not scientific. It's made up. It no longer works as a positive force in society, instead dividing, blocking, and usurping human ingenuity that has been present since the absence of money as a motivational force. Tesla didn't do it for the money. Armstrong wasn't a radio genius since his teens because of the money. Galileo didn't do it for the money. Martin Luther King didn't do it for the money. If you're only doing it for the money, it's probably not worth doing to begin with. Okay? Using what science and technology can truly offer us, we will evolve beyond the need for money. And with it, we will free ourselves from the inefficiencies, debt slavery, and tendencies towards manipulation that the present system's faulty self-analysis puts down to human nature and the way things are. In fact, we're already evolving beyond the need for money anyway, or at least our ability to maintain it usefully within society. We have in the last 50 years automated phone operators, while massively increasing phone operator services. We've automated bank teller positions. Are you telling me we're taking less money out now? People actually forget there is even once a job called a bank teller. And were those guys, those token ones in Barclays not there anymore, you would forget it immediately because they're not necessary. We've got rid of the lift operator. He doesn't exist anymore. No, nor does the Iceman, thanks to the refrigerator. Blockbuster and similar stores are basically going out of business because of online DVD services, largely automated, as are entirely automated DVD machines. This alone will do away with the entire concept of money, a system which is now resulting in poorly applied technology, stunted innovation, death and destruction, not to mention the social ills of poverty, crime, and gaining for advantage. In a society based on the scientific method, applied for social concern, we do away with vague human opinion in the operation of society. I don't care what David Sarnoff may think of FM technologies, or what a large pharmaceutical company thinks about Stanislav Brzezinski's treatment of cancer. If the science works, it stays. If it is one day surpassed by better methods, it goes. End of. No politicians, no voting, no straw polls, no vox pop interviews with people who do not know what the fuck they're talking about. of ideas that we're in desperate need of. If we are to survive in the most abundant, enjoyable, safe, free and fair society we can possibly create at any given moment. And I will just say about that freedom. This is one of the big things that we're going to face. Is you're affecting my freedom with your new system. Yeah, you don't have any freedom whatsoever other than laws of nature. Sorry, that's the way it goes. And any society that affords you new freedoms, it's because of the architecture of that society. Not something that was written down on an old piece of paper that you can pay money to go and see, or any of that rubbish. It's the architecture of the society you're in, okay? Just remember that. Because people are going to bring it up to you all the time. And if science has taught us anything, it has taught us that working together is better than working alone, or against each other. We can be so wonderfully achieving were the world simply to stop, look around, assess the situation, look at our tools, take stock of what resources are left and where, and fight the common enemy. And the enemy we all face now is what our culture is doing to us. It's the stage we are setting for our own destruction. Should we not reform our society and base it on resource management enabled through the scientific tools that we have? These are our three limiters. The market itself is the determiner of the options you see in society. The forces of profit, competition and ownership. The mind block, our second limiter, blocks our ability to assess our market block, the way things are, within a wider context, what Will would call a new frame. And our education, including the media, every other available source of information, informs both the ability to think and our ability to act on one side, and represents, promotes and governs the discourse of the market on the other side in the form of propaganda. Combined, they are the overarching lock mechanism. They are the three bars on our prison cell window. Is it up there? It's going to be hard to find them. Many of them don't have three anymore. The social model we promote contravenes the need for these limiters, based on the understanding that strategically serving every human is to our individual and collective advantage by using our only proven tools, the scientific method and our knowledge of technology. Everything else is just whistling past the graveyard. A couple of months ago, I was debating on how to end this talk, other than by just telling you to join the movement. And here's something that I actually took from Charlie Veach when he was on V Radio. Are you here still, Charlie? He's gone. Okay, fine. I'll send this to him. he said something about fractals. I only vaguely knew what a fractal was, so bear with me. This is a fractal. Some of our doomed engineers even worked on them. Gail Cantor's work actually led partially to the understanding of fractals that we have today. It's a mathematically generated image, in some cases, which is self-similar. That means that any one portion will at least approximately resemble the whole if zoomed in on. It is infinitely scalable, either up or down, and the shape will reach a point eventually where the constituent part will look the same as the whole. In turn, the shape forms one of the constituent parts for a larger self-similar object. We even see these patterns in nature. Romanesco broccoli is sort of a big kind of thing in the it's also made of other things, and they are made of other things. Yeah, the constituent parts, basically. The veins of the leaf are nice and easy to understand. A fern is composed of self-similar portions. Each self-similar portion also composed of other self-similar portions. What about an atom? An atom is a nucleus surrounded by electrons which circle and orbit. The Earth is orbited by a moon. In turn, the Sun is orbited by multiple bodies in space. Solar systems orbit a center to become galaxies. The orbiting bodies are all made of their constituent parts, all with their own orbits and orbiters. Change a portion of the constituent part, and the whole shape changes. Change the whole, and the constituent parts change as well. Of course, when you witness change in a fractal, one has to decide whether the change came from the constituent part of the whole. Perhaps it's a little bit of both. Gail Cantor didn't go into it. I would like you for a second to evaluate your actual position in this world. You are an individual in a collective whole, a cog in a societal frame. Yet your individuality is a supportive mirror of the values of your system, whatever those values are. In that sense, you're a portion of a fractal society. It reflects you, and you reflect it. And as we begin to assess our society from the true perspective, the overarching perspective, the global perspective, perhaps you, like me, can entertain the fractal metaphor. One person can change their mind. Several people can change the mood, but a whole world of people changing their minds changes the world.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry, Joe. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? Oh, sorry. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, everybody, we're wrapping up now. Please going to say a few words. We're sorry about Joe not saying we've had technical problems trying to get hold of them. Peter will say something about why they're not here as well. Thank you all for coming. I hope it's been educational. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you feel that, you know, something you've learned here today is going to change the way you, when you go through those doors, you're going to maybe make a different move in your life, you know, try and change the way things are. We've really got to do this. We're all in this together. We're going to change or we're going to die. It's as simple as that, okay? Thank the Quaker group for letting us hold this meeting here. It's very kind of them, they're very decent people. And I'm trying a little bit of kudos. I don't know if any of you know the history of this building, but I think it was about 80 years ago, you can Google it. A certain individual called Mohandas K. Gandhi spoke in this room on this stage just before he went back to dismantle the British Empire with a stick and a dozy. So, I think
I think Tom paraphrased a lot of what I'd like to say. I want all our speakers to stand up. How many chapter coordinators do we have here that have come from far? Please stand up. These individuals are taking their time. How many people here are active within the movement and something that they actively engage? Thank you. Everyone else, that this information might be new. I hope that this vast spectrum of information, which I think, if you're not familiar with it, obviously it'd be very overloading, but it's really beautiful that all of us have come together for this, and I'm just so outrageously pleased. And I hope those of you that are digesting this information will take the time to follow through, not get too complacent with the kind of, well, miserable existence that tends to persist out there, not feel like you don't have the time because of all the pressures of this society, mainly artificial. Believe me, I understand. So it takes another level of energy to pursue this type of thing. It's not easy. We're engaged in the most difficult move, again, probably in the history of humankind. So it takes strength and courage. And for all of you that will continue to pursue this, I'm here for you. I hope you're here for me. Love you all. Get on stage.
people, there's a music event somewhere. That was a bit impromptu because I don't actually know what the fuck it is. But,